All right, first and foremost, we give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the Word enemy calls Christ, Yahweh Shai. All right, that's your brother, Chief Priest Alizar Ben Lawyer, back at y'all with another Friday night class. Everybody, all the saints, make sure to share it, saints. Share it, saints. As we get into it, we got a powerful breakdown. As y'all see in the title, we're going to be dealing with the Romans 11 grafting in. The grafting in thing here. You got, pseudo apologists who, think that they know what the Bible is talking about when they, in fact, do not. Typical stuff, real typical stuff, usual, practical, and typical stuff.
I need the link.
It's on my Facebook. So we're going to be broadcasting on this channel for the foreseeable future. Due to some complications with the SICARRI water channel. So we'll be here right here on Public Enemies. Huh?
Mainly the Shield Squad and SOG.
Yeah, crying, crying to, they go to YouTube and they report a video that is not defaming them, but showing you how much they don't know about the Bible, and then they report it. And because of the nature of what we do, YouTube is inclined to take certain videos down. Even though they're not inflammatory, you might say a quote unquote curse word. We might say the quote unquote N word. And then now they have grounds to take it down, predicated upon term of service use and things of that nature. So guys, just be careful getting at these good guys, because they're punks, man. And look, I was about to say something else.
Well, Vocab Malone just did a whole thing about IUIC taking down his video. He's like, what's so damaging about this video that they got to take it down? Well, that's how we feel.
Because now, granted, Vocab Malone, James White, and Laron G-Con, they're not, the videos about them, they haven't tried to get taken down. It's the videos about certain of those other lesser guys in those organizations that are getting taken down. And it's hilarious to me, because I see, like, literally we're just a video just of something you say and then stopping it and then showing you how against the Bible the things that come out your mouth is. That's why you're getting taken down. That means that you are knowingly propagating and teaching a lie. That's what that literally means. And you will do anything to keep the charade up. You see what I'm saying? So it's disgusting, it's filthy, and the Most High God is going to judge all the patrilineal Hebrew Israelites that are involved in that madness that don't repent. All right. But tonight we're going to deal with Romans the 11th chapter, the concept of grafting in, which is something that's important to understand in the Bible. Very important to understand in the Bible, and something that these unlearned Christians will gravitate to, that they'll go to, that they'll try to use as some form of substantiating their beliefs. But it doesn't at all coincide with anything they believe at all. It actually further proves our point through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It's contrary to what they believe. It's contrary to what they think. It's contrary to what they quote unquote understand. You understand what I'm saying? So make sure y'all share it, saints. Share it in all the groups. Share it everywhere. All right, as much as possible.
When you get to the point where you're actually going into the trees, then I could be on that mythos.
Okay. All right. So start at Romans 11 and 11.
God. The book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 11. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Most High forbid.
Let's say, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, read.
But rather, through their fall.
Through their what?
Through their fall.
Wait a minute. Start from the top.
I say then. Have they stumbled?
Have they stumbled? Read.
That they should fall.
That they should fall. Read.
God forbid.
What is God forbidding?
That they should fall.
That they should fall. Read.
But rather, through their fall.
Through their what?
Their fall.
I thought God forbade a fall. But then it says rather through their fall. This is the first thing we got to stop and analyze in this whole situation. We got to go to the Greek. Give me the Greek Tazamamav. I need to start with, we're going to start with the word stumble. Strong's G 44:17. Because God forbade the fall. So we need to understand the fall that the Most High is forbidding, and then the fall that he's talking about that through our fall. Then we can get on to the rest of it. Let's find out what stumbling is, and what the first fall is, and what the second fall is. You'll find out that all of these are different Greek words. 44:17.
Strong's G 44:17. Patio or patio? Patio. It says to cause one to stumble or fall.
To cause one to stumble or fall. So that's simple. To stumble, right? Let's go to
err, make a mistake.
To err or make a mistake, right? G 4098. Let's go there now. This is the first word for fall that God forbids is going to happen to Israel. Let's first understand what that is. And this first sentence here is going to help you to understand the foundation of what this parable is about through the spirit and power of Yahweh. Shall I read?
G 4098. Pepto. Meaning to descend from a higher place to a lower.
To descend from a higher place or a lower. What is that talking about? Deuteronomy 76. Pull it. We need Deuteronomy 76 because that's the fall that God is forbidding, right?
Deuteronomy 76, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Above all people. That's the fall that God forbids. That's what the Most High will never allow to happen. Us to not be above all people. Even if we're not in a rulership position, we are still better than everybody. And the Most High still regards us as above all people in the earth. That's what God forbids it will ever happen. We will ever fall from being in that position. Start back from the top of 11. And you get Strong's G 3900. Go ahead.
God, book of Romans chapter 11, verse 11. I say then, have they stumbled?
Have they stumbled? Read.
That they should fall.
Have we stumbled? Have we erred? Have we sinned? That the judgment of our sin would mean that we are not going to be the superior people on the planet Earth. That's what it's saying. Read.
God forbid.
The Most High forbids that anything that we do as Hebrew Israelites, as a collective people, in or out the truth, will ever make us not in the position of being the best people on the planet. What proves that? Turn your damn TV on, and you'll see wicked blacks and Hispanics doing all the greatest things you've ever seen on the planet Earth. Evil as hell, not keeping one law, statute, commandment, not believing in Hamashiach, not calling on the name. Evil as hell, hating each other, being sorcerers, witches, selling their damn soul to the white man, and we still the best people in the world. Because God forbid it to be any other way. If you understand that when you first read this parable, the first damn sentence in this parable, then you wouldn't go into trying to make this be about somebody else other than Israel. Right? So go ahead.
God forbid, but rather through their fall.
Through their fall now. It says we weren't going to fall. The Most High forbade a fall. But now it says, but rather through their fall. Let's see what the word here is for fall. Bring that out.
Word G 3900. Paraptoma. It says to fall beside or near something.
To fall beside or near something. Right? Keep going. There's a few more.
A lapse or deviation.
Let me see. Let me take a look.
From truth and uprightness.
The Strong's, brother, not the biblical use.
No, we're in the Strong's. We're in the Strong's. To fall beside or near something, a lapse or deviation from truth and uprightness, a sin or a misdeed. So it's just talking about us, quote unquote, falling from grace. Us slipping as a people, and especially in this case, the ruling class Jews of the time is what it's predominantly talking about. So now start back again from the top of 11 now that we have this understanding. And we're going to read 11 and Tazamamav, hold Luke 15 and keep it held because we're going to keep going there. Go ahead.
God, Romans 11:11. I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall?
Have we sinned that we should be removed out of the top people on the earth? Read.
Most High forbid.
That God forbids it. Read.
But rather through their fall,
through our sin, read.
Salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
It come unto who?
The Gentiles.
This is where they go to. The salvation has come to the Gentiles. We'll just read. We're going to get to that in a minute. Go ahead.
For to provoke them to jealousy.
To do what?
Provoke them to jealousy.
We slipped and fell, and we're provoked to jealousy. Or rather, not us, in general as a nation. The ruling Israelites of that time that lived in Judea, who were referred to as Jews, slipped and fell, right? Namely, going into, a lot of them didn't acknowledge Hamashiach, Yahushua as Hamashiach. So they slipped and fell. Through their slipping and falling, ultimately, they would be provoked to jealousy. Who knows how they were provoked to jealousy? No, sir. Hold that. Luke 15 and start at 11. We're going to go to Luke 15 and 11 and read the 15. Because what Paul is iterating is a parable that appears earlier in the Bible, a parable that appears in the gospel, a parable that Yahushua delivered to the 12, right? But he's giving it through a Greek lens, so those of our brothers who grew up in a Greek society with a Hellenized mind could understand and grasp it. Because whom is he writing to? He's writing to Romans, right? Who dealt with a Hellenization process and later a romanticized or a Latinization process, right? So he's giving it through a certain lens that will be easier for them to comprehend, that's more relatable for them. And we'll get to why it's more relatable for them in a moment, right? But let's go to Luke 15 and read 11 to 15.
Luke chapter 15, verse 11. And he said, a certain man had two sons.
A certain man had two sons, read.
And the younger of them said to his father,
Father,
give me the portion of goods that falleth to me. And he divided unto them his living. And not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country.
He went into a far country. He left. Where is going to a far country? That means he went to another nation's land. That's what this son did. Read.
And there wasted his substance with riotous living.
With riotous living. What is riotous living? Living like these heathens in the place that he went to. That's what he did. Read.
Verse 14. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country.
He joined himself to what?
A citizen of that country.
If you join yourself to a citizen of that country, what are you now considered? A citizen of that country, one of their country. What would that be? If you were left Judea and went into Greece and joined yourself to a Greek, what are you now? A Greek or a Gentile. Yahushua gave you the parable already. He gave you the breakdown to the whole. This is what when Yahushua was speaking, he kept telling people, you guys don't understand what I'm talking about. Because they were looking like, man, these niggas that's up in there in Greece and Rome and Asia Minor, they're not even Israelites no more. Them is niggas, them is Turk, them is everything but what we are. He gave you the catalyst here in this parable to say, yeah, but we have the same father. And we know one of us went to join the heathens and live righteously, right? That's still your brother, right? You had something?
I was going to say the same way people, from other countries always come over here trying to, marry some chick or
to become what?
To become
American.
That's right.
Now I'm American. See what I'm saying? America, right? That's what it's about, right? So go ahead.
And he sent him into his fields to feed swine. That was 15. You want me to keep going?
Okay, so Salakia, 1 second. Let's go to skip to 18, read 18 to 22.
(18 and 18 and 22).
15.
15.
Stay at 15, but read 18 to 22.
Oh, okay.
We're just gonna skip around because the parable was long. So I just want to hit the points.
Verse 18. It says, I will arise and go to my father and will say unto him.
So what did he say? He said, I'm gonna go to my father. That's now. He's living like hell amongst these people. He said, I want to go to my father now. Read.
And will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven.
What is that? What is that called? What he just did? He said, I'm going to go. It's called repentance. He's going to repent. He went and lived with the heathen. He became a heathen. Now he wants to come home and repent. Right? Same thing all of us did. But during that time, you had those of us who were still new to Israel. And it was a foreign concept for these niggas to come back and repent. That was foreign. Read.
And will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee.
Acknowledging your sin with a broken and contrite spirit and repenting. Read.
Confess your sins.
Confess your sins.
Right.
Right. Go ahead.
And am no more worthy to be called thy son.
I'm not worthy to be called an Israelite. So what were they called? Gentiles. This is it. Y'all talk about, y'all have no, I mean, for it to just literally mean everybody, they talk about mystery, right? It's what's the great mystery? What's the mystery of Gentiles meaning everybody? That ain't a mystery. And that mystery is about it. There's no breakdown you got to go into. This is the mystery, that there would be an Israelite that would go and join himself to the heathen and that would come home and repent, and they would have to be accepted. And that was something that was radical to the Judea at the time, to the ruling class of the Jews at that time, to the Pharisees, to the chief priests. You see a nigga coming from Greece, you looking at him, nigga might have tattoo like a brother now. Right. See, all of us are Gentiles now. We all are coming and we all are looking to heaven now. During then, that wasn't happening. So when it did happen, they were looking like, man, this nigga, man, he got a face tat. This nigga's uncircumcised. Who get this nigga away from me? He's a heathen, man. But that was your brother the whole time because you had the same father. Go ahead.
It says, which later on in the chapter of Romans, the 11th chapter, that they love to go to talk about the grafting in of the heathens, right? It speaks about that great mystery. But then it goes further on to say, which we're going to get it.
Exactly.
All Israel
shall be saved.
Shall be saved.
That's the great mystery.
Verse 17. It's like I'm going to start back at 16.
So like we supposed to be at 18.
18 to 22.
Yeah, 18 to 22. You all right?
Start back at 18. I will arise and go to my father and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. Verse 21, and his son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven.
Repent it. Read.
It says, and in thy sight am no more worthy to be called thy son.
I'm no more worthy to be called an Israelite. Read.
But the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. So
what happened? He came, he acknowledged, I'm a Gentile now. I'm not even worthy to be called an Israelite. His father said, oh no, we're going to give you a good robe. We're going to put the best ring on your finger. We're going to treat you right because you are in fact an Israelite. Go ahead.
And bring hither the fatted calf and kill it. And let us eat and be merry.
Where you at, 22?
That was 23. So
skip to 25, read to 30.
Verse 25. Now, his elder son was in the field.
Here's the elder son. Who is the elder son? He's been an Israelite this whole time. He never left Israel. He stayed true. He stayed down. So what did the elder son do? Read.
And as he came and drew near to the house, or nigh to the house, he'd heard music and dancing.
He heard it's a party. Everybody's celebrating. Read.
And he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant.
The hell is going on? Go ahead.
And he said unto him, thy brother is come. And thy father hath killed the fatted calf because he had received him safe and sound. And he was angry and would not go in. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he answered to his father, lo, and he answering said to his father, lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgress I at any time thy commandment.
I've been here. I've been an Israelite. I never left. I never left these laws. Read.
And yet thou never gavest me a kid.
What is that? What just happened right now? He's mad. Why is he mad? What's another word for what's going on here? Another one. Jealousy. He was provoked to jealousy. So what it is would say we're provoked to jealousy when the acceptation of Israelites that became Hellenized, that became after the ways of the Gentiles, came back to Israel, them being accepted with open arms, that made the brothers that never left jealous. That's the provocation to jealousy. And that's what Yahushua was talking about. He set the catalyst. So later when Paul talked about it, but he talked about it through the lens of the Greek brother, of the Roman brother, he did it in a way that they could understand. So Romans 11 and Luke 15 are direct parallel parables of one another in the spirit. Officer.
Just going back to verse 24, and where he says, "For this my son was dead."
Well, no, so like you jumping the gun, huh? You jumping the gun. Don't worry about it. We'll be there. Go ahead. We skipping for a reason. I gotta hit the points. Go ahead.
What is we keep going?
To 30.
It says,
Matter of fact, hold that. Read that last verse. What is that? It was 11, the 11th verse. Read that again, Shamar. Romans 11 and 11.
God, you want from the top?
God.
Book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 11.
For a recap, go ahead.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall?
Have we stumbled that we should lose our place as the people above all? No. Read.
Most High forbid. But rather through their fall,
through our sin, read.
Salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
It's come unto those of our brothers who have went into the ways of the Gentiles, read.
For to provoke them to jealousy.
To provoke them to jealousy. Because brothers who were the ruling class in Israel at that time had dropped the ball. One of the main ways that they had dropped the ball is not acknowledging Hamashiach Yahushua, who is fulfillment of several Old Testament prophecy, namely Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, right? So through them not doing it, now, all right, well, to hell with it. First, we operated as a whole nation, right? Then we split into two. The Most High started dealing with the Southern Kingdom. Then the Southern Kingdom dropped the ball. So now, you know what? I'm opening it back up. Everybody can come. All the brothers all around the world, no matter what way they're following, they're now going to be extended an olive branch to come back to our covenants, man. Right? That's what's going on here. So he's going to provoke us to jealousy, the brothers who were in Israel at that time that never left. Provoked to jealousy. Why? Because they didn't accept Yahushua. Now, the acceptation of Yahushua was not something that was hard for the Gentile brother to accept. The Most High made the brothers who were alienated from the Commonwealth of Israel more susceptible to that understanding. He softened their hearts to that understanding versus hardening the hearts of the brothers who were in Israel at that time to that understanding. And all of that was to work his strange work, which is for the ultimate salvation of all of the nation of Israel. Every tribe, every kingdom, every Israelite, period, saved. That's the point of all this, which we'll further prove in a second. But go ahead. Cap. Go ahead.
Matthew 18 and 12. This is speaking about the jealousy, right? He's like, I've never went astray. You know what I'm saying? And you've never. He's gonna go on to say like you've never given me a kid, right? Come. Matthew 18.
I ain't never been treated this good.
Come. Matthew 18 and 12. How think ye if a man have 100 sheep and one of them go astray, do he not leave the 99 and goeth into the mountains and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so be that he findeth it, verily I say unto you, he rejoiceth more of that sheep than of the 99 which went not astray.
You see that? That's the brothers that's coming in, that was coming in back then. And the Jews of Israel were mad, like, nigga, we the vanguards of this.
That's right.
We do this. Who are these niggas? You see what I'm saying? They left, their grandparent left and went to become a Greek. Your grandfather was in a damn bathhouse. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you looking at these brothers. Not realizing that it doesn't matter. He's an Israelite. That's why it's constantly reminded, as we're going to get to later, we're not getting none of this salvation of works. We're getting it of faith. You understand what I'm saying? It's all of a promise. We got it of a promise that Abraham was given. So it doesn't matter what his granddaddy was doing or even what he was doing. If he wants to come and repent, then he has that opportunity because a promise was made to his forefather that we all, the same way that we are getting in, Lord willing, is the same way that this man was getting in, no matter what life he was living. Right? So go ahead.
It says, neither transgress I at any time thy commandment, and yet thou never gavest me a kid, that I might make merry with my friends. Verse 30. But as soon as this thy son was come, which have devoured thy living with harlots, thou hast killed him, thou hast killed for him the fatted calf. And he said unto him, Son, thou art ever with me.
Where you at?
I'm with 31. So
yeah, I just need 30. All right. So he's jealous. That's clearly what's going on. Now back to Romans, read 12 to 15.
God.
Did you get etymology?
Book of Romans, chapter 11.
I'll tell you the words.
Verse 12. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world. And the diminishing of them.
Wait. If the fall of them be the riches of what?
The world.
What's the world?
Rulership.
Israel. Read it again from the top.
Come. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world.
Of the whole world. Meaning, if rulership was established back to the Israelites at that time, the Jews of that time, then it wouldn't be for the riches of the world. Meaning all the brothers that were alienated in Gentiles, the entire northern kingdom would not have partook in that. So what had to happen? They had to be rejected, right? So everybody could come back in. Go ahead.
Now, if the fall of them,
everybody meaning all the Israelites. Go ahead.
Khan. Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles,
it diminished them. See, that's when people deal with the Jew and the Gentile. There's no difference. It's showing you that none of us are greater. No Israelites are greater than each other. We're all brothers and sisters. It's diminishing them because they were walking around with their nose in the air, pompous and stuck up. Because nigga, we never left. We've been here. You're not partying for us. I've ever been with you, Father. No, it doesn't matter. We're all going to do this together.
Just like the last penny.
Just like the last penny. Some men came at the end and got the same wage as you, which is salvation. So what? See, but what happens? They get jealous. There's a jealousy thing here. You see what I'm saying? You got some elders that get jealous of brothers that's coming in now. Say, damn, these young brothers, they ain't gonna have to labor as long as us. You see what I'm saying? It just happens, man. All right, it's natural, right? But ultimately, it's off. Go ahead.
God, how much more their fullness?
Go ahead. How much more their fullness? Because ultimately, it's gonna fully bring everybody in, including the ones who are gonna be rejected for a short period of time. All the Israelites is coming in. Go ahead.
For I speak to you, Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles.
Read on.
I magnified mine office.
Because he's magnifying the work that he's doing as an apostle to the brothers who had lost their nationality. Read.
If by any means I may provoke to emulation them.
Provoke to emulation, which is the same thing as jealousy when you look it up. Same thing. Read.
Provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them.
He's provoking some of them to jealousy, but sometimes that jealousy will be a motivation of the Jews. You see what I'm saying? When he said those are my flesh, he's talking about his brothers. Some of them are going to be provoked to jealousy, and that jealousy is going to motivate them. Sometimes jealousy is a major motivation for certain people. So it's going to save some of them. Some niggas is going to get messed up over it. And they're going to fall by the wayside, but ultimately they're going to be saved too. Go ahead.
God, for if the casting away of them be the reconciliation, Salah.
The what?
Reconciling of the world.
The reconciling of the world, right? The reconciling of the world. This is going to tell us what the world is. Edamon, reconcile. Because that's what we have to understand. What does it mean to reconcile?
Yeah, well, we would have to say, well, when was humanity, all of humanity, ever with God?
Well, don't jump the gun. All right? Don't jump the gun. Let's find out what reconcile means.
Reconcile. It says to bring together again.
To bring together again. Again. When was everybody together? There's only one example. What's the one example you could show of everybody being together, all nations?
Before the tower.
The Tower of Babel. What did God do to that? It can't be what that's talking about then. It can't be it, right? So it say read that reconcile part again.
Con, for if the casting of, were you talking about the etymology or
no in the scripture?
Con, for if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world.
Of the what?
Of the world.
Of the world, the reconciling of the world. It's all ultimately in the grand scheme of the Most High's plan to reconcile the entire world. Not just them niggas that was there who knew they was Israelites, the ones who went off in a Gentile state of minds, the ones that were on the other side of the world. All of us had to come together. So what did that mean? Jerusalem had to fall. We had to flee into Africa. We had to get put on slave ships and meet our brothers who was here already and go through slavery in the Americas. Wake up here in Babylon. Get on street corners. Go to camp. Wake brothers up. So all of Israel, all of this is a part of the Most High's plan. Right or wrong? So let's go to Jeremiah. Cap, get Jeremiah 30 and read 17 to 24. Hold what you got, Sergeant. We coming right back there. We're going to go to Jeremiah 30, 17 to 24.
Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 17. For I will restore health unto thee.
I will restore health. Read.
And I will heal thee of thy wounds, said Yahweh.
Read on.
Because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after.
Who no one cares about. Read.
It says, thus said Yahweh, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent.
Meaning he's going to save the 12 tribes of Jacob, all of Jacob's seed from their captivity. Read.
And have mercy on his dwelling places.
Go ahead.
And the city shall be built upon her own heap. And the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry. And I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small.
You see that? That's 24.
No, that's 20. I mean, that was 19. I'm on 20 right
now.
now.
Salaki, go ahead.
It says their children also.
Now, mind you, again, it said bring again, reconcile. Go ahead.
Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me. And I will publish all that oppress them. I will punish all of them that oppress them. And their novels shall be of themselves, and their governors shall proceed from the midst of them.
That's all reconciliation. That's bringing us back together again. Going to assemble our tribes as in old times, all 12 tribes. We're going to have our own governors, our own prince, something we haven't had in so long. Go ahead.
And I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is it that engaged his heart to approach unto me, saith Yahweh? And ye shall put my people, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your God.
Reconciliation of the world. The hell are these people talking about? Go ahead.
This is going to be in Romans 11 as well.
Yeah, that is right.
And ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. Behold, the whirlwind of Yahweh goeth forth with fury, and a continuing whirlwind, and it shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. Verse 24, the fierce anger of Yahweh shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it.
This is all in the end times. This is all going to happen. That's when the reconciliation of the world is going to happen. When he's going to bring us back to our original state. Reconcile. Period. Right? So now let's go back to Romans 11 and 15. And then Cap, hold the 24 verse of Luke 15. Read.
Book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 15.
Read.
For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world.
What's the reconciling of the world? Bringing Israel back. Read.
What shall the receiving of them be?
What shall the receiving of them be? Read.
But life from the dead.
Ooh. The reconciliation of the world is receiving life from the dead. This is key. Luke 11 and 24. 15, 24.
This is Luke chapter 11.
I need to refill somebody, Baba Kusha.
Luke 11 and 24. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through.
Luke 15. Salakia. Luke 15. Stay in Luke 15. Salakia.
15, 24. Luke chapter 15, verse 24. For this my son was dead and is alive again.
What? He said, this my what?
My son was dead and is alive again.
How was he dead? He was alive. He was in a heathen land, living a righteous life, joining himself to the citizens of these strange places, feeding their swine, eating the swine's food. The Bible says he was dead. Proverbs 21 and 16.
That's right. You want it?
Yeah. What does it mean to be dead? Go ahead.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
You see that? He left understanding, joined his way into the heathen. That's how he became a Gentile. That's simple and plain. That's what this whole thing is talking about. Now, they're allowed to come back to Israel. And even if it makes those that were already in Israel jealous, ultimately it's for the grander reconciliation of the whole nation. That's all this means. All right. So let's now go back to Romans 11, Sarge, and read 16. Cap, hold Jeremiah 2 and 3. Go ahead.
Come, book of Romans 11, verse 16. For if the first fruits be holy.
If the what?
First fruit.
If the first fruits be holy, read on, because now he's elaborating further on the Gentile and the Jew. He said, for if the first fruits be holy, read.
The lump is also holy.
The lump is also holy. Showing that they're of the same first fruits, because ultimately, no matter what, that lump is holy if the first fruit is holy. Right? Hold that. Or so like you finish 16.
Come. And if the root be holy, so are the branches.
So are the branches. If the first fruit is holy and the lump is holy, if the root is holy, so are the branches. Jeremiah 2 and 3.
Book of Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 3. Israel was holiness unto Yahweh. And the first fruit.
Wait. It says, if the first fruit is holy, then the lump be holy. Israel was holy. And the first fruit, read.
Of his increase.
Israel is the first fruit. That's the subject matter of what's being talked about. This entire parable, there's no way around it. Everywhere you turn, the precept is Israel. Period. And we're not just eisegeting here. We're going parallel exegetical, side-by-side parables and Old Testament prophecy. And it's all very clear. It's painting the same picture. It's for the Israelites. Has nothing to do with these other people. To hell with these other people, man. Because God said he forbade that Israel would ever not be above everybody. Right? So now let's go ahead.
Keep going in Jeremiah.
Salaki, we done with that. Let's go back to, let's read Romans 11 and 17. You hold Deuteronomy 22 and 9. Read.
Come. Book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 17. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou, being a wild olive tree.
Some of the branches be broken off, and thou, the Gentile Israelites, be a wild olive tree, read.
Weren't grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree.
So now we have to think about this. Now they say the wild olive tree is the Gentile, and the olive tree is the Israelite. There's a serious problem with that. All right. And I'm going to show you Deuteronomy 22 and 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 9. Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds.
With what?
Diverse seeds.
Diverse seeds. What do men have? Seeds. So every nation is likened unto a tree. You plant tree in the thing. It says a vineyard shall not be with diverse seeds. That's against the Bible. So if they're both olives, even though one's wild and unkempt and going crazy and one is kempt and goodly, they're still the same seed. They're still all Israelites. You can't, it doesn't work, man. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not sow thy vineyard with diverse seeds, lest the fruit of thy seed which thou hast sown and the fruit of thy vineyard be defiled.
It says it's defiled to sow a vineyard with diverse seeds. So that don't work. The Most High is not going to say, is not going to make a righteous defiled analogy. That's not going to happen. You see what I'm saying? Also, what does that show? If a woman has children of a different nation, or even, hey, you can even take it to a lower level of different men having children with one. That's not good. It's not good for women to have multiple baby daddies. So another thing that plagues our people when you look at it on a deeper level. But that's another topic. Let's go to 11 and 18. And then you hold Romans 4 and 13. Read.
Come, book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 18. Boast not against the branches.
Boast not. So you brothers that's coming in, don't boast against them just because it's easier for you to understand certain things and not for them, though they've had it this whole time. Boast not. Read.
boast not against the branches.
But
if thou boast,
if thou boast, read.
Thou bearest not the root.
You're boasting, but you don't bear the root. Read.
But the root thee.
But the root bears you. You don't bear the root. This is why we can't boast against each other, right? And say, "Oh, I'm better than you because I know I'm an Israelite," or "I'm better than you because I've been knowing I was an Israelite and you just found out." As if you bear the root. You don't bear the root. The root bears you. What does that mean? Romans 4:13.
Romans chapter 4, verse 13. For the promise that he should be the heir of the world was not to Abraham.
Was not to Abraham, read.
Or to his seed. Through the law, but through the righteousness of faith.
You see that? So that promise that was given to Abraham is what bears all of us. That's why we can't boast against each other. Because we're all being bore on the promise that the Most High Yahweh made with one man that we all descend from. So we can't boast against one another. I'm better than this nigga. Oh, that nigga's a 2/3. How do you know? You was a 2/3. You the nigga would have called your ass a 2/3 2 years ago before you heard a breakdown. Now you full-fledged Israelite. Now you looking at this nigga like he a 2/3. So you don't know where he's gonna be 6 months down the line. You can't boast against him because you don't bear the root. The same promise that bears you, he's going to be borne by a soldier.
And the brother pointing the finger might be bugged out.
Might be 6 months later, he's out the truth. 6 months later, that same brother is deeper in the knowledge than he ever was. You never know. We all have the same problem. We all have this eligibility as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the Israelites. Right? Yes, something?
No.
Okay. All right. Let's where we at? That was 4 and 13. Let's go back now to Romans. Pick up at 19, and we're going to go all the way down to 30. Go ahead.
Book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 19. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off.
You see that? Because they didn't believe in Yahushua, they were broken off. Read.
And thou standest by faith. Be not high-minded.
You have the faith. You didn't grow up knowing you were Hebrew Israelite, understanding these scriptures. But because you heard this word and it spoke to your spirit, Romans 8 and 16, I'm just referencing it briefly. Because of that, you have the faith. You've been allowed back into this thing. You're no longer alienated from the Commonwealth of Israel, as speak about in the book of Ephesians. Right? But just, Salaki, go ahead.
I just want to make sure you brothers are listening. Which branches are these that were broken off in verse 19? Make sure y'all listening, man. Wild branches or natural branches? No. And that's where all these other fake Israelite camps get it messed up at, and they get caught out there. The wild branches they were never. It's not saying that they were never grafted in, that they were ever grafted in. These branches that were broken off are the natural branches. The guy was right. All right, so when it says grafting again, it's not talking about the wild olive trees being grafted in again. Why? Because they grew up as a Gentile. Probably the diaspora with Nehemiah and Ezra, to be honest with you.
It goes because that's where the diaspora starts. That's where being a Gentile starts. People think Gentile is Southern and Northern Kingdom. That's not what's going on. Northern Kingdom, we wasn't even thinking about the North. Them niggas is in America doing whatever the hell they was doing. Building pyramids, mounds, and, doing all they stuff, right? Shout out to Ephraim and all the tribes. We were just doing Judah, Benjamin, Levi, some of the remnants of the North. We was there. And what did Ezra and Nehemiah make the decision of doing? Getting rid of them kids. Because they had been raised in the way of their mother that was not an Israelite. Not because they were halfies, because the way that they were raised was not that of an Israelite, right? So when that occurred, they got put away. They got taken to these lands. Now you have Israel scattered all throughout the place, right? So, somebody give me Ecclesiastes 3 real quick. You got something, officer?
You got Galatians.
No, I'm not going to Galatians.
All right. That just adding to the branches and stuff, being the adoption of the.
Yeah, well, all of these things are the same thing. He's telling all the people the same thing. You had some soldier.
You said those kids were pushed out into different lands, or were they killed off?
They were kicked out with their mother to different lands.
Okay, copy.
We're going with now. That was something that happened for a time. Now watch this. Read.
7:13.
No, I need Ecclesiastes 3.
Oh, so
Israelite mothers, or
These were heathen mothers with Israelite children.
so then that's why they say, oh, if you're not of an Israelite father, Israelite mother,
Yeah, which is well, no, they say that because of Deuteronomy 23, but they'll try to use that as they'll use that as an example of it, but that's not what was going on. Well,
that's the wild branch.
they would be a part of the wild branches, but also later, chiefly the Hellenistic period. During that time when the mass Hellenization of Israel, that was the main Gentile time. Then even you could, which would extend to the northern kingdom as well, but it's chiefly talking about brothers who were kicked out during the Ezra Nehemiah time and the Hellenized time, and their descendants, and they have an eligibility to come back to Israel, come back to the Commonwealth. You got what I need? A time to cast away stones?
It says Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 5.
Read.
A time to cast away stones.
There was a time that stones were casted away. Those were them children with them heathen mothers. That was that time. Ezra and Nehemiah, that was the time. They were cast away. Read.
And a time to gather stones together.
Then there was a time where stones are gathered together. That time was during the time of Paul. He's going to gather the stones back. And these are the parables that we're reading about. That's why Peter says we are the stone, lively stones, the royal priesthood. What does it say in the ESV? The chosen race. You see? That's all in the spirit. Where are we at?
It says a time to embrace and a time to refrain
from
embracing.
We refrain from embracing them.
That's right.
Now we are embracing all the nation again, starting back from that time. Where was we at though before that?
Verse 19.
Verse 19.
God.
I'm sorry, it's verse 20.
20, come.
Book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 20. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off. And thou standest by faith, but not high-minded.
Be not high-minded.
Salah. Be not high-minded, but fear.
Exactly, but fear. Why? Read.
For if the Most High spared not the natural branches, take heed lest he also spare not thee.
Yeah, we can't boast against each other, and we have to operate with fear of the Most High. Because just as easy as a brother that's in the truth can fall out, you who just coming in the truth fall out just as easy. Or just as easy as it was for a brother at that time that was in Judea versus a Hellenized brother. Can easily a Hellenized brother come in and accept it, but also can this brother that was in Judea accept it, even though he didn't? I.e. Paul, right? Go ahead.
God, behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of the Most High.
You see the goodness, the mercy, and also the severity of the Most High. Read.
On them which fell, severity, but toward thee, goodness. If thou continue in his goodness, otherwise thou also shalt be cut off.
Go ahead.
And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief.
If you abide still in unbelief, if you don't believe, then what? Go ahead.
Shall be grafted in. For the Most High is able to graft them in again.
Exactly. Just as easy as it was to bring in the Gentile or Hellenized brother, it's just as easy to wake up a brother who was not Hellenized to the truth that Yahushua is a Mashiach. Plain and simple. Read.
For if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree?
There you go. Which is walking uprightly as an Israelite. Read.
For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits.
We promised that the brothers in the chat that we would expound on verse 24.
Okay.
I just want to let the brothers know. Read it again, verse 24.
Verse 24. For if thou wert cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature.
So it says they were wild by nature and they were grafted in contrary to nature. It's not saying that they're of a different species. It's just saying they're contrary to their natural habits, thoughts, and practices. They basically had no inclination to serve the Most High until it was freshly given to them through the Spirit, then they believe by faith.
That's right.
So that's all it means by contrary to nature.
Con.
They wasn't moving like an Israelite moves who knew he was an Israelite. That's it. And Paul's getting real in-depth and detail in it is because he's actually likening this to a story from Greek mythology called the
Odyssey.
The Odyssey.
Who read the Odyssey at school?
Homer?
Yeah, the Odyssey. I remember the Odyssey. Homer, yeah, I believe. Right, we remember the Odyssey. So the whole thing that he's doing is giving the parable of Luke 15 through the Greek lens, which is the Odyssey, to help the brothers who grew up with those stories to understand it better. You have to relate the same way you may give a brother. What do we say? What are you always going to for Deuteronomy 28? Debo. I'm gonna give you the Friday breakdown. Right? Does that mean that the Most High is the gospel according to Ice Cube? No, but it's something that you can understand. You have more on that?
I'm gonna just bring it out real quick since we brought it up. The end of the gist of the story of Odyssey 5. If anybody's familiar with it, he goes to hell and hot water.
I think Vanessa Williams is in the movie. She's the great. He could crash on the island. Her fine ass sitting on the throne.
Right. So he goes through all this stuff. Then finally, at the end, it says, okay. It says, so he crept in to get into a better place where the gods would stop attacking him. Right. Beneath the two bushy olive sprung from the same root. You see that? One wild and the other well-bred stock. You see that? So it's a olive tree bringing fruit, then it's a wild olive tree, right? No sodden, gusty winds could ever pierce them. So dense they grew together, tangling side by side. And there's a lot of examples of Paul likening the Greek philosophy and the Greek mythos to the truth and relaying and conveying it to our Hellenized brothers. All right. So so the moral of the story, how Paul is seeing it, these olive trees came together and it protected Odyssey. It was a protection. So that's what's going to happen when the nations come together. Why? So all Israel shall. Hey, look, when Odyssey got under them two olive trees, he was saved. So these two olive trees have to come together. So all Israel shall be saved.
That's right.
Hey, Paul went deep, man.
That's right, brother. Was going in.
That's it on that.
Right. So go ahead, precept.
Because people overlook this too, especially when you went into the word reconcile. Right. This is Ephesians 1:5. Having predestinated us unto the adoption. When you adopt somebody, they're not your natural, you know what I mean, out of your loins, but you bring them in. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean that you're not of your same they're not of your same nation.
True.
It doesn't mean that. It just means they didn't necessarily come through your lines. God adopted them. They're the wild olive branch that was brought back in.
Well, the scriptures say natural Israelites have to be adopted, and we know they're natural Israelites, so we can see this whole contrary to nature and adoption. It's not literal dealing with different nature, different
because when we go into Romans the 9th chapter, who pertained to the adoption,
Israelites. Exactly.
Clear.
That's
Romans 9, one of the greatest chapters of the Bible.
That's right.
That's right.
And now Romans 11.
Shout out to Paul.
Paul was going in. All right. So you see how they favorite guy starts to work against them.
Yeah.
All right. Deeply. Go ahead. Where we at? Go ahead.
You said that we just did 24, right?
Yeah, go back to 25.
Back in the book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 25. Chapter 11, verse 25. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness.
Meaning, a lot of the Jews of that time could not accept Yahushua as the Savior because the Most High blinded them to being able to see it on purpose, so all of Israel can be saved. Go ahead. It's not for everybody in the world, meaning every nation, every kindred, every Edomite, every Elamite, every Cushite. No, all the Israelites can be saved. That's the point of this. Read.
God. Until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
Till the fullness of our brothers who went into Gentile ways, were Hellenized, etc., come back to whom they are. Read. And that fullness is something that still hasn't fully seen fruition, but it's almost time. In our time that we live in now. Right? Go ahead.
God. Verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved.
You see that? The fullness of the Gentiles is all of Israel being saved. So who are the Gentiles? Israelites. Go ahead.
And not spiritual Israelites.
Literal, because we were dealing with seed, stock, first fruits. We're not dealing with spiritual things here. All of these analogies are agricultural analogies that literally deal with you taking a seed and planting it.
Actually, you know what? Real quick, I got it. They might think you're lying.
Yeah, I must needs speak.
I must need to bring this out
Bring
right now. So when you look at the Hebrew word, the Greek word for root in Romans 11, because this is what it's talking about, right? It ain't talking about being a spiritual Israelite. It says the root bears thee, meaning these people go back to the patriarchs.
That's right.
Right? And this is the Greek word Reza.
Oh, Raza. Yeah, Raza. Which means what do Mexicans say? La Raza. What does La Raza mean? Your race. This is my people. Right? Issachar not gonna call a Chinese man that's Raza. Yeah, he's hell no. He's Chino. He's not Raza, right? Chino, right? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Go ahead.
It says a root, that which like a root springs from a root, a sprout, shoot, metaphor, offspring, progeny.
Progeny, meaning what comes out of your balls. All right, that's clear cut. It's out. This I don't even. Yeah, what y'all got to do? Stop being Christian. Just leave the Bible alone. Go to the atheists have churches now. Go to the atheist church. Satanist church. Children to Satan. You that's you non-Israelites. All right. Go ahead.
Because we're dealing with the olive tree, right?
Yes, sir.
This is you got Jeremiah 11:16.
Yeah, do not go there. don't start looking up olive tree. I'm already there. I'm already on top of it. All right. So let's finish Romans 11.
God, Book of Romans, chapter 11. Should I read 26 again? Yeah, let's finish 26. Verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
You see that from who?
From Jacob.
Out of Zion came to deliver Yahushua, and he turned away ungodliness from Jacob, not Edom and Jacob and Cush, and Canaan and Japheth and Ishmael.
Well, he's basically saying that Romans 11 is a fulfillment of
Isaiah 59 and 20. That's powerful. These are the key points through the spirit that you got to punch in on these niggas when they try to go here and say, nah, this ain't talking about y'all. Are you kidding? You damn devil. Go ahead.
God.
And no, but hold on. Also, there's a lot of Israelites that I've been seeing that's been going to this too. Apologetic Israelites that want to love everybody. I see niggas on our comment board going, yeah, brothers, but listen, man, there's a grafting in too. You niggas are stupid, man. I don't know what Christian Israelite group that y'all follow, but y'all need to get into these breakdowns and study the precepts and look up these words through the spirit and power of Yahweh, and it'll become clear.
Also, too, in Romans 9, the end of the chapter, Paul said these Gentiles are fulfilling, this is 2 chapters earlier, and there's really no chapters in these writings. When they compiled the Bible, they made the chapter. So really, in just a few earlier chapters, right? Paul says these Gentiles are fulfilling Hosea 1 and 10. So you can't tell me that the context of the Gentiles
has changed.
And it's both ethnos. So you can't say it's changed 2 chapters later. And faithful to the devil, I'm gonna finish you, man. All right. They sat you down after you got destroyed. They sat you down, and we ain't heard from you since. But you slipped up and you said that these Gentiles in the end of Romans 9 were Israelites because they were cut off. This is what this guy said. So we're gonna get your ass for that too.
Go ahead.
Khan. Book of Romans, chapter 11, verse 27. For this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins.
When I shall take away their sins. Yahweh shall come to take away the sins of the world. Who's the world? Israel. This is ever clear. Go ahead.
Come, as concerning the gospel, they are enemies.
What's the gospel? What is it?
The grafting in of
No. Come on. The gospel is defined in the Bible. You said what?
Salvation for Israel.
There you go. Salvation for Israel. That's Isaiah 52. That's where the gospel is defined. Good tidings, as it says.
Yeah.
That's what the gospel is.
Don't let these apologists try to take you. I heard LaRon Coon Campbell say the gospel didn't appear in scripture until like 1 Corinthians. That's the Christian dogma.
Meaning that Christ never spoke about the gospel.
Yeah. Well, he did, but it's defined. Paul
defines it, yes. Because Paul is God.
Bro, I'm telling you, he did a "What is the Gospel" video. 6 scriptures from Paul in a row. I said, "Damn, it's all about Paul." Paul, some people, Paul is everything.
Yeah, that's true.
I love the brother.
He's the Trinity. He's the Trinity of these guys. Apparently.
I love him, man. He helps our case a lot more than theirs.
That's right. We're showing it now in the spirit. Go ahead.
God, for this is my verse 27. For this is my covenant unto them.
Read.
When I shall take away their sins, as concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are
as concerning the gospel, which comes through Yahweh, they are enemies because they don't accept Yahweh. But what?
But as touching the election,
what's the election? Israel, mine elect. Read.
But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake.
Yahweh loves them still. He loves every Israelite. That's why you can't boast against him, because he loves them. You got guys, fuck the 2/3. I want the 2/3. Guess what? Yahweh loves them.
That's right.
Yahweh shall die for him, even if they don't recognize him. That proves it right there.
He died for, even though he died for them niggas.
Yeah, he died. I mean, did he die for shotgun polite? Yeah, he did. Go ahead.
God. For the gifts and calling of the Most High are without repentance.
Without repentance, meaning he promised Abraham something, and he's not repenting from that.
Yeah, so replacement theology is out. Niggas need to just start going there.
Right there.
Go there.
Without repentance. There's no, it's the church now. That's gone. Go ahead.
God. For as ye in times past have not believed the Most High.
Ye in times past, those Gentiles, they have not believed the Most High. Read.
Yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief.
You see that? What verse you at?
30.
30. It say they in time past had not believed the Most High. So let's first go to Sirach 32 and 24. Sirach 32 and 24 quickly. Because they in time past didn't believe the Most High. What does that mean? Go ahead.
Book of Sirach, chapter 32, verse 24. He that believeth in Yahweh taketh heed to the commandment.
They didn't take heed to the commandment. They were living after the ways and righteous, living the ways of the heathen. So they didn't believe in the Most High. They were following all the ways of the places where they live. Read.
And he that trusteth in him shall fare never the worse.
Right, that's the faith aspect. 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. Now, so to show another example of how they didn't believe in the Most High. All right.
Book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 12, verse 2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles.
Ye were, past tense, Gentiles. Read.
Carried away unto these dumb idols.
When they followed these other gods, they were Gentiles. They followed the gods of the nations. They were considered the inhabitants of these nations. That's what the whole mystery of the Gentiles is about. That's what this whole grafting is about. They're wild because they're going every which way, following every which God, but they're being grafted back into the upright way of the following and worship of Yahweh Echad. All right, go ahead.
Even as ye were led.
Even as they were led. They were led by their foreparents that were forced into Hellenization or volunteered into Hellenization, and they followed the various Hellenistic gods. Period. Right? So now let's go to Jeremiah 2 and 21. So we can hammer this home through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 21. Yet I had planted thee a noble vine.
A what?
Noble vine.
A noble vine. Read.
Holy a right seed.
A righteous seed. Read.
How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant.
That is a wild olive tree. We turn into a degenerate plant. That's the Israelites. Turn into a degenerate plant. Go ahead.
Of a strange vine unto me.
Of a strange vine. We turn into a degenerate plant through worshiping idols. All right. So that's the whole Gentile and the whole parable and mystery of the wild olive tree. Right? Psalms 128 and 3.
Go ahead.
Psalms 128 verse 3. Thy wife shall be as a fruitful vine.
Watch this. Go ahead.
By the sides of thy house.
Uh-huh.
Thy children.
Thy children, read.
Like olive plants.
Like olive plants. Whose children? Israel. You'll see the subject matter of this is Zion. Thy children, olive plants. The Israelites.
That's right.
It's talking about Israelites. Right? Let's go to Jeremiah 11 and 16 to 17 now that you had.
God.
And then you hold Hosea 14 and 6. And that'll close us out.
Book of Jeremiah, chapter 11, verse 16.
Uh-huh.
Yahweh called thy name a green olive tree.
Israel is a green olive tree. Go ahead.
Fair. And of goodly fruit.
Oh, the goodly tree, as it spoke about. Read.
With the noise of a great tumult, he hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken.
Ooh. There's a bro in the God.
Is that word fair there beautiful as well?
It should be.
That great tumult, can you liken that to the other nations?
Well, it's in Jeremiah 11, it's talking about something specific. Okay. Babylonians in naming. But go ahead. Finish that to 17.
Gone. Verse 17. For Yahweh, power of hosts, that planted thee, have pronounced evil against thee. For the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah, which they have done against themselves to provoke me to anger, in offering incense unto Baal.
You see that? So that's what made the olive tree wild and got them branches broken. Idolatry. All right.
Real quick, just in case they try to get simple, they may say it doesn't say that the wild branches were ever apart. It's a whole separate tree. Well, we know if you go off, the nations are trees. So if you go off and start acting like another nation, you're a whole nother tree. All right. So now you got to get broken off and brought back into this thing.
You're a whole nother tree, but the same type of thing. Both olive, but one is wild now. They went on some whole, what they call some whole other stuff.
Who knows what a wild olive tree is?
We're not dealing with agriculture.
You know the difference between the two, the olive tree and the wild olive tree? One bring forth fruit,
one's hands and one's branches clamp all up together.
So what can it do?
One brings forth fruit. So what's a degenerate plant?
One that can't bring forth fruit.
One that can't bring forth fruit.
So what is fruit? Fruits meet for repentance. You see that? What are the fruits of the spirit? The laws. Give me that. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me. The precept. I always go to a second. I don't know what off top. Let me get it because it's the fruits aspect. You got Hosea 14 and 6 on deck, Captain. Hold that real quick. Put on my hands dandy. All right, hold on. Oh, yeah. Early. Right here. Okay, the second Ezra's 3 and 20. And yet tookest thou not away from them a wicked heart, that thy law might bring forth fruit in them. So what bringing forth the fruit? The laws. So when they're not keeping the laws, they're a wild olive tree. What are they not bringing forth? Fruit. See what I'm saying? Hosea 4 and 6. 14 and 6. Salaki.
Book of Hosea, chapter 14, verse 6. His branches shall spread, and his beauty shall be as the olive tree.
See that? His. You see that? Israel. All right. Well, really, Hosea, that's talking about the north. You see? So with that, we're gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.